What do you think about
I
the
know,
new
but that's your
FOIA and the
daughter.
videos coming out?
Well, I hope they all come out soon.
You're
What do
hopeful
you
for them to come out?
Yeah, I want all of them to come out.
Gypsy's
I
not
want.
worried?
No, not at all.
Okay.
I think that it's important for everyone to see
hey,
everything.
keep making content.
Hey friends. So something I mentioned in a previous video that I've been working on is a timeline of dates, because so often I will hear some new information or something comes out in a new FOIA and I want to reference it back to a date, and it's just going to be easier to have it all together. Another thing I'm doing is referencing dates that Gypsy claims for things with source material so we can see where it differs. Because, well, some of us are just bad with dates. That's a normal thing. I've noticed that sometimes Gypsy is really, really precise about dates, and then other times that she gets vague. And it kind of seems like some of the vague ones are where things are being hidden. Let me show you what I found. Now, also, before I get into the main part that I want to talk about, I wanted to demonstrate real quick that we're only holding Gypsy to a standard of consistency that she holds a dead woman to, that she had murdered. In her book, In My Time to Stand in 2024, Gypsy writes, when confronted about all the inconsistent information that she had provided to the hospital, Claudine stated she didn't know why birth dates and personal information were wrong. So, which is it? She didn't know why the dates were wrong, or she changed them to avoid an abusive husband. The blatantly contradicting answers to the same questions are so obvious to me as lies. But the investigators didn't seem to notice. That's how all of us feel looking at this evidence of all these FOIAs and also just comparing Gypsy's words throughout this case. The blatant contradicting answers to the same questions seem very evidently evidence of lies to us, but the prosecutors allowed a plea deal. Didn't see any of this. I don't get it, friends. Okay, so on to the point. Okay, remember how I said sometimes Gypsy is eerily precise about dates, and then other times she gets really, really vague. So in this one, this is still part of My Time to Stand. She says, at 2 o'clock in the morning of Good Friday, April 22nd, Dan texted Mama's phone, which I had hidden in my dresser drawer on my side of the bed. I'm at the hospital, the text said. I got beat up real bad. I'd like you to be with me. So there's a lot of weird things there. First off, how does she remember the exact time and date so precisely? But we all know Gypsy has a weird thing about numbers. The number 13, and the dates June 9th and June 10th. We've all wondered about those. And then also it's interesting to note that Dan had Dee Dee's phone number, and Gypsy was holding on to Dee Dee's phone and using it, you know? Like, that seems so risky considering she had her own ways of communicating. I don't feel like she can be that scared of Dee Dee, but that's just my opinion. And then she says she packed up a Lilo and Stitch movie, her baby bottle, a change of nipples, a pair of stolen jeans, and stolen lingerie. She stole Mama's cash and Oxy's stash. Threw on an oversized pair of jeans. I keep mentioning the jeans because Ryan Anderson said that Dee Dee didn't allow her to wear jeans. We can see that Gypsy could dress up in whatever she wanted to wear, and she had jeans available at the house, so. And on the next page, Gypsy says that she left Dee Dee a note and said, Dear Mother, I know I can walk. I don't think I have cancer. I don't feel sick. I know that I am really 19. I want to live my life as an independent woman. I love you. It's just time for me to spread my wings and fly. I'm going up to St. Louis. I love you, your grown-up daughter. And then she says she knocked on a stranger's door, asked for a ride to the hospital. We know this is true. She texted Dan when she got there, stayed with him till he was released, rode home with him and his cousin, who then called her mother and said, come get this weird girl. So considering how very, very precise Gypsy was with that date, I thought it was interesting that whenever she come to the BB shooting, she got really vague. Let's take a look, friends. Gypsy says, maybe Mama really had magic powers, because in the months leading up to my second escape attempt in 2012, I knew by the way she increased her surveillance of me that she sensed I was up to something. So see what I mean? Just really vague in 2012. Let's go to the next page. Now, on the next page, Gypsy says She sounded like I was begging her to let me go to the mall or even to date Dan, who wanted nothing to do with me after she told everyone that he was a pervert and a child molester. I won't bother you and you'll never see me again, I said, saying the reverse of what she wanted to hear. Rushing to the kitchen table, I swiped the dagger and grabbed the 22 caliber BB gun she picked up at Walmart. It's interesting she said 22 caliber. Like I said, she is at times just so precise with random numbers. I thought if I aimed the gun at her, she'd back off in fear. Out of fear, I pulled the trigger and offloaded 10 BBs at her, creating tiny slits in her flesh. You notice she said slits, plural, because some of Gypsy's defenders had tried to say that only one hit her, but Audacious Audrey showed the proof in her video of the multiple hits. Gypsy said she backed her way into the bathroom, double-fisted with weaponry. I followed her until I was wedged in the doorway. Give me my bag. I want to go. I came at her with the gun, now empty, and just held the dagger up while she sat on the toilet. We were at a standoff. So Gypsy had, after she hit Dee Dee with the BB gun all the times, she held a dagger over Dee Dee on the toilet. Is this when she decided she couldn't do a kill, an actual kill, and she needed a patsy? That's what I'm wondering, friends. So I thought it just really bugged me. She was so precise about the date she went to dance. We've always questioned why sometimes she says June 9th and sometimes she says June 10th. Seems explainable on that for Dee Dee's date of death because it happened, by the timeline we know, early in the morning on June 10th. So she had planned for it all day June 9th. But still, it's just little sus because it's Gypsy Rose. So I just thought it was so weird. She was so precise about the date with Dan. And then whenever she comes to shooting Dee Dee, she's just like, in 2012. Look at this, friends. I was able to find this thanks to the GRB Snark Reddit. Thank you, user you Ms. Charms. So here are the posts on the Snow Gypsy Blanchard, which would have been Dee Dee covering for Gypsy here. June 13th, 2011 is when it happened. That is less than 3 months after her incident with Dan. It says, warning, if a man approaches you in Walmart parking lot and asks you for money, run. Jip and I got robbed. Jip is okay, very shaken up, and I got shot. Hope the police get him. The next day, June 14th, 2011, Dee Dee says, bullet out. Feeling a lot better. I have the best little nurse, Jip. So according to Gypsy and her people, she has access to all the evidence that we're getting from these FOIAs. She could have been very accurate with dates in this book if she wanted to be. We also saw in her prison emails where the first ghostwriter that her and Melissa Moore tried to work with, Gypsy threw a freaking fit. She said there was no emotion. It was just all facts. She doesn't like too many facts being in there, friends. So what do y'all think? I'm going to go ahead and keep this short and cut it off here. Let me know if you think I'm right or if I'm reaching. I think she shot Dee Dee very, very soon and held the dagger over her on the toilet after cornering her in there after the incident with Dan. And I think that's when she decided she couldn't do an actual kill. I think she thought that Dee Dee would be able to overpower her if she actually came at her with that knife. I think she thought she'd probably get caught if she did it with a gun, a real gun. And plus, how's she gonna swipe that? That would probably be difficult for her. Anyway, I'm just rambling now, friends, because what the hell? And yeah, she made that very big 2012, trying to not relate it to Dan. Also, isn't it interesting that Dee Dee called Dan a perv and a pedo, even though Dee Dee knew Gypsy's real age, but Gypsy was pretending to have the mind of a child? When Gypsy went on Kale Lowry, Gypsy said that she was of age, but that Dan thought she was 15 and he was 35. And Kale goes, oh, so a PDF file then. And Gypsy's like, I don't like that word. Well, now that we've seen the Gypstein files, we know she doesn't like that word, I believe, friends. What do y'all think? Let me know in the comments. I hope everyone's having a good day. Check out the donation video if you haven't. We're doing really fun things with the donations, friends. We'll go out with palette cleanser. Let me know what y'all think in the comments.